Hello, everyone. This is Byron Lehman, and I'm at the Jittery Goat um, YouTube channel. And I also have a website, the Jittery Goat, at jitteryg.com. And that's where you'll find my short stories along with links to my novels. And yesterday I posted a short story, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about it. And hopefully you'll go after this, you'll go and read it. I think you'll enjoy it. But it's called Hammered, and I'll put a link to it down in the comments section of this channel. First of all, I'd like to address the reader, if you're going to read it, and then the curious, how the story came about, and to the writer, lastly. And I always feel that a story should always have some sort of lesson. It should mean something to someone. It should be meaningful in some way or another. Sometimes vignettes and short stories or flash fiction don't necessarily address that, but they should in some way. Now, I use alcohol in the story, and I'm not advocating drinking at all. I'm not a drinker, but I use it as sort of a a vehicle to move the story, you might say. So, if you might think that it's often said that life is a journey. It's a cliche, but it's true. You have a spiritual journey, an emotional journey, an intellectual one, and a philosophical one. But you have all sorts of journeys, and they may be going on at the same time in your life. And not everyone will understand that journey or appreciate it. There are those who might be curious about it, and at the same time might not understand it. And that's kind of the point of the story, too. And you may be so convinced of your journey that you want to share it with others. And when you share it with others, well, they don't appreciate it as much as you do. So, what does that mean? That means sometimes we have to walk the beach by ourselves. And so you'll have to read the story to find out exactly what I mean. So, now this story, Hammered, is only 225 words, thereabouts. And so it's taken more words and more time right here that will for you to read it. So I encourage you to read it. So, what about where this story came from? Well, I wrote it really several years ago. If I'd say probably 10 years ago, I'm going to say, and it was when my website was hosted by WordPress, and WordPress had what they called a daily writing prompt, and it came in my email every morning at 6 o'clock. And so they would propose a prompt. And this prompt on this particular morning was this. They'd say, look out your window. They said, look out your window and tell us what you see, either real or imagined. So that was the thought. That was the prompt. And so I went from there. Now, I really can't tell you, again, it's been probably 10 years ago, exactly what my thought process was to come up with this story. But I came up with this story. So a little bit about WordPress. It was really the daily prompt. It was really a lot of fun, but they just discontinued it after a while. And I suspicioned. First of all, it was kind of like a nice little community. There was probably about 45 to 50 writers that got involved in it, and we'd read each other's prompts and send likes or whatever, or critiques even, and commendation. But it was kind of like just a nice little community. Well, after a while, it they discontinued it because it became so large, so large it was unmanageable. And I suspicion what some people did, what some writers did, they had stories that were tucked away in their hard drive someplace, and when that prompt would come, they would just uh, post it. And that was unfair to a lot of writers who looked at the prompt and they would start writing right away. Myself, I kind of set a rule for myself as when the prompt would come in, I would start right away, and I give myself 1 hour to work on it. And if I didn't have something in 1 hour, I would just forget it. And of course, it had to be fiction too, because that was my genre. And so I was kind of proud of that. I went about 200 days, 200 short stories, which meant there was a lot of bad short stories that I wrote in that time too. But nevertheless, I still met the prompt every day, at least for 200, about 200 days. But then I missed a couple of days, and I started up again. So that's where this short story, this short fiction came from. Now that was to the curious, and now to the writer. I think that writing has to be easy. It has to be fun. If you don't enjoy it, if you don't enjoy every process of it, um, you might as well be a programmer or a truck driver or something else, because it's just going to cause you misery. It's going to drive you to drink, which it has a lot of good writers. You you probably heard the expression, writing's the easiest thing in the world to do. All you have to do is sit at a typewriter and bleed or open your veins. I think a lot of writers have been credited with saying that, the one that comes to mind is Hemingway. Hemingway, and you know what? Hemingway lost his creative edge, and so he did that. He probably sat at the typewriter and he bled. And you know what happens if you bleed too much, you'll die. Writers could do that. So if you're at that state where writing becomes difficult, find something to do, at least for a little while, to give yourself a break. You have to have fun as a writer. You really do. Uh, so if you capture something in your thinking that's humorous or whimsical, write it down. And this short story, Hammered, is after I thought about things for a little bit. I thought about something humorous, a humorous situation, and I wrote that down. And it was really a good break for me. I captured it in words. And, it's, like I said, it's just a good break. It has to be fun for you. And so 225 words. I am certain that when you read this 225 words that's on the screen, you're going to come up with 1,000 more in your head. So think about that. You're going to give a person more than what you put into it. Think about it. Isn't that great? Isn't that what a writer wants to do? So that's the beauty of flash fiction, vignettes, short stories, etc., things like that. Because they're fun for the writer, but also they're fun for the reader. It gives them just a short break, a minute, 2, 3, 4, 5, not very much time at all. And they get to read something that's kind of fun, kind of whimsical, and kind of lifts their spirits a little bit. So if you get a flash from nowhere or somewhere, capture it and write it down. Like I said, you may come up with a literary nugget. So and again, I'll put the link to the short story down in the comments section, and we'll see you next time. And so remember, do good stuff, read good stuff, write good stuff, and most importantly, see good stuff in others.